Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So, in celebration of Valentine's Day, I wanted to post this video, and it really has everything to do with matters of the heart and how we go about making really important decisions in our lives that revolve around these matters that have to do with what we love or what we're passionate about and which direction to go. So I know a lot of people, a lot of my close friends, family members, including myself, are really going through a pretty big transformation right now. And they're having to make a lot of really difficult decisions that might include quitting a job that they've been at for a long time that provides somewhat of financial security, but they don't love it, or possibly leaving a relationship, a marriage that they might love this person, but it really just doesn't seem to be the next logical step in what they want to do and how they're growing as people. Um, or even having a lot of indecisiveness around somebody maybe that they do want to be with, but they are scared for numerous different reasons of whether that's going to be a good or a bad thing. There's so many different matters that we could include in this particular topic, but the fact of the matter is that what the relatives really want to put an emphasis on is that we tend to go in the opposite direction of finding clarity on these topics by using logic. So you're going to find people who are making lists of pros and cons, or really analyzing things from a very logical point of view, very analytical. And that really is only going to confuse us even more, because these particular issues that we run into are not things that we ever intended to solve logically. Really, when we came into this physical body, we knew that we were always going to have our intuition and the ability to tap into our inner spirit and into spirit as a collective in order to help guide us in which directions we should be heading. And that's always going to come in the form of feeling. So if you're feeling in love, if you're feeling inspired, if you're feeling a certain anticipation that something's going to happen, but you don't know what yet, but you know that you're going to have to leave your current situation in order to let this new situation manifest itself. These are all things that we knew we were going to have the capability of solving, essentially, through our own sense of faith and knowing that so much of the time, the best things in life are those particular things that we had to take that leap of faith and follow our heart, follow what we were feeling inside, and leave the logic and the analytics completely out of the equation, because our path that we designed was meant for us to grow. So, in order to grow, that means that we have to learn and experience things that we have not learned or experienced yet. So, how could we possibly think about them logically? We don't have the life experience in this very specific situation to make those determinations. I'll give you one example. I when I was living in California, I came to Kauai on a short vacation. And when I got on the plane to come back to California, I just knew in every bone of my body that I needed to move to Kauai. And logically, you could say that it made absolutely no sense. I had a very successful business. I was very financially secure in California. I had family there. I had friends there that I've known for 20 years. I got a lot of pushback from people saying, "Why would you, I had a really nice house that I rented, but it was a very nice house. It had my business, my dance studio was literally 20 feet from my house, so it was really easy to, walk to work and teach, and so many wonderful things about my situation in California." However, I just had this feeling in my heart that despite all the logical things that should have said, "Laura, you should stay in California," I was feeling the opposite. I was feeling like these are things that I would be able to obtain again. But not just that, it wasn't necessary for me at that point in my life for those things to be priorities. So, sure enough, I came home from that trip, and within 3 months, I moved to Kauai. And I went from living in, a three-bedroom home with a huge garage and my dance studio within walking distance, and all the comforts and luxuries that I could want and need, to living completely off the grid in a solar powered, uh, propane generated tiny little shack in the jungle of Kauai. So, the reason that I bring this up is because moving to Kauai was one of the best things that I ever did. I grew so much as a person. I really felt compelled to live the spirit of the way that the Hawaiians have lived for so long, which is that spirit of aloha, which really means a connection to the earth, to the universe, to the stars, to each other, to our land, to our families. That was the most important thing that I needed to really prioritize at that time in my life. And it really changed me as a person for the better. And I'm so happy that despite all the things on paper that were saying, "Why on earth would you give all this up and move to the complete unknown?" I didn't have a job. I had no clue what I was going to do when I got here. And I really was able to make a name for myself here. I started by selling artwork from this famous artist, and I learned so much about the history and the culture, and the language and the flora and the fauna, through this artist and his art. I then went on to have my own business, which was a really exciting accomplishment. Not a whole lot of people get to have their own business on the island of Kauai. And then I was able to manifest my dreams of being able to teach dance again. And not only that, but I always wanted to have an all ladies Latin dance troupe. It was something that I had dreamed about probably since I started dancing 25 years ago. And sure enough, that was something that I was able to accomplish on the island of Kauai. And it was probably one of my most favorite manifestations that I got to experience. And it happened to be on one of the most beautiful islands on planet Earth. And I got to tap into being one with the earth again, and really going back to who I really was, which was somebody that I would like to say naturally carries the spirit of aloha, in the sense that I really do love, and I am very much connected to people and the earth and compassion. And it brought me back to being grounded, to being able to be in the most beautiful places, and really experience what's most important in life, which is watching a mother whale teaching her calf how to breathe for the first time, standing on top of like 1,000-foot cliff, and watching a whale bringing her baby calf up, and teaching it how to breathe after it had just been born. You know, these sacred moments. Um, Learning from nature and watching how birds and how they live, and how we need to be more uh, like our animals that we coexist with, and the birds, how they don't worry and stress about finding food. They just wake up every day and they wake up singing, and they actually finish their day out singing. That was another beautiful thing about my house, is we had something that was called bird hour, and especially in the evening as the sun was setting, it was just an opera of birds, and they're just rejoicing in life. So again, it really changed me as a person. I feel so much more grounded and connected to who I really am, and that the material things are not always the most important things in our lives. And especially if it's something that we have had for a long time, it's not something that we've wanted and it hasn't manifested itself yet. Maybe it's something that you've already experienced. In that case in particular, our inner spirits are going to want to delve into the deeper parts of us that are not material, the parts of us that deal with intuition and matters of the heart, and being faced with these very difficult life decisions, and using our heart as a guide and our intuition as a guide, and taking leaps of faith when we don't know what the outcome is going to be. There's so much more fulfillment in taking those leaps of faith than by carefully calculating out our next move, moving into that position, and then just, well, you've already anticipated what it's going to feel like, so how could it really feel that good? You've already mapped it all out, versus jumping into the unknown and just seeing how sweet that situation can feel when you decided to follow your heart. So I hope that you guys gain some clarity if you're dealing with this on your own. Please feel free to comment, like, definitely subscribe so you don't miss out on any other future content. And I really appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. See you next time.
Love on, love on, love on.